You can't spell America without me. Spell. Casting a spell. All presidents of the United States have been involved in the occult and witchcraft. From the very first president, so-called George Washington, all the way down to our current president, Donald Trump. You can't spell America without me. Something interesting I've noticed in a lot of photos or paintings of presidents, they have been near or around a table, and his hands are placed on the table. That would represent the earth, because the earth is a plane. It's basically a flat plane with some mountains and some valleys. Sometimes you go up above the actual, what's called sea level, and sometimes you go below sea level. But basically the earth is a plane. So to place his hands on the table would be to indicate that the use of the witchcraft is on the plane. You can't spell America without me. It's a book that's supposed to be a parody. It's by Alec Baldwin and Kurt Anderson. But notice how he's situated between two poles. The one pole, the dominant color, is the blue on the right, and the other pole, it seems to be the dominant color, is the red. And notice how they both have birds atop the pole, which could possibly be what folks refer to as the eagle, or maybe they are the phoenix. And of course there's the fringe flags. The fringe flags mean admiralty law, not what we call common law or the law of the land. It would be the law of the sea that would connect all that is done with none other than the crown, or England. And the crown is basically a large corporation that's based right out of what's called the City of London. Not London proper, the great metropolitan, but a tiny spot that goes way back to ancient times called the City of London. The other thing is that he's between the two poles, and hence he's connecting the red pole with the blue pole, and he's making the witchcraft work. And if you notice that behind him are curtains, and the color of the curtains is yellow. And we've noticed that Donald Trump is known for his yellow or his gold hair. And yellow or gold is the color of Lucifer for the illumination with the false light. So this book is telling you something just in its title. I don't have to go into any of the content, because the book tells you you can't spell, you can't cast spells in America without him, because he's the centerpiece of the system that is hidden, or the occult. And of course many have fallen into the system I don't blame anybody that's fallen into the system. At one time I was in the system. But the best advice is to realize that every president, every administration, from the very first of George Washington, has been involved in casting spells upon America to allow people to believe things that are false as reality. It's a false reality, or as some others would say, who understand things far better than me, it's a reflected reality. It's not really the way things are, but because of the witchcraft, you will not be able to get beyond it. I will not be able to get beyond it unless we realize that we are under the spell. And Paul the Apostle, in his letter to Galatians, said, "Who has bewitched you, O foolish Galatians? O foolish Americans, who has bewitched you?" Well, look, the hands are on the table, which is a plane. And the plane represents the earth. And his hands are touching the earth. It's as if he's like a mediator from the powers above us, the powers of darkness that sit in high places, that's mentioned to us in the book of Ephesians, the letter of Ephesians, chapter 6, whereby we are surrounded by invisible spiritual entities who have power and who have personality and who are able to manipulate and to control everything on the plane. So take a look once again. He stands between the two poles, which is basically all occult systems, hidden societies, all dualism is based on that very concept. And what is produced is a glorious illumined light, these yellow curtains. And they invite you to walk through them into that window that is being created by the character we know as Donald Trump. And yes, all presidents in the United States have basically been characters. And they have said one thing to Americans while they are doing something completely unknown to the population. And that is because they have cast spells on Americans. You can't spell America without me. And the one that's referring to is Donald Trump. Don't fall for the spells. Don't fall under the power of witchcraft. All powers of witchcraft were broken by the death of Jesus on the cross and his resurrection. He defeated the very powers of evil and all the forces of evil, and all powers and principalities were completely defeated when Jesus died in our behalf. He disarmed them, we are told in Paul's letter to Colossians. He disarmed them. So use the authority of the Lord Jesus Christ to not let these powers and principalities and the ones on this earth that are in touch with them cast a spell on you. I'd like to thank you for watching. End of video.